Different objects on Mars that people see or think they see in various rover images, and it's really hard to dismiss them because they do look exactly like sculptures that human beings make.
What secrets is the red planet hiding beneath its dusty surface? With every mission, new puzzles emerge. Strange shapes, eerie lights, and unexpected objects.
There is physical evidence, scientific evidence, that there was once water on Mars. So if the water was there, it easily could have supported civilization.
Could these latest Mars images rewrite history? Let's dive in.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars.
The full video of Perseverance's final descent. The rover was racing through the thin Martian atmosphere at hundreds of meters per second.
It's 145 meters per second and now 9.5 kilometers above the surface.
At 12 kilometers above the surface, its parachute opened, slowing it down. Cameras on the rover captured every step, from the heat shield dropping away to radar locking on the ground. Using a sky crane, Perseverance gently touched down, ready to search for signs of ancient life. This landing was one of the most precise ever recorded on another planet.
Preparation for parachute deploy.
Lost civilization.
Different objects on Mars that people see or think they see in various rover images.
Mars may be hiding secrets no one expected. NASA's Curiosity rover captured high-resolution images revealing strange objects that look like they belong to a lost civilization. Among the dusty rocks, there's what appears to be a sarcophagus, a Buddha statue, a cross, and even a broken doorway. These shapes have sharp lines and possible carvings that don't match natural formations. While NASA calls it pareidolia, the brain tricks us into seeing familiar shapes. Some experts argue these could be real artifacts. These images suggest Mars might once have hosted intelligent life, leaving behind puzzling traces beneath its red surface.
Fairly close up, and it is possible to spot things like statue heads.
Mysterious creature. A strange figure was spotted crawling across Mars, and it had legs. In 2015, NASA's Opportunity rover captured another mysterious object that stirred wild theories. The photo showed what looked like a four-legged creature, almost like a bear or wolf, wandering across the rocky terrain. It instantly sparked online buzz about life on Mars, but scientists dismissed the idea, pointing to a phenomenon called pareidolia, when our brain sees familiar shapes in random visuals. The Martian climate is simply too extreme for such creatures to survive. Still, this figure didn't look like any rock we've seen before. Pyramid on Mars. In March 2020, the Cydonia Institute released a study analyzing satellite images of Mars. The photos reveal strange formations that look like 4- and 5-sided pyramids, along with unusual mountain shapes. Many people believe these pyramid-like structures are signs of an ancient civilization that once lived on Mars. One striking image shows a large structure that stands out sharply against the red landscape. Meanwhile, the Mars rover Curiosity captured a rock formation at Gale Crater shaped like a perfect pyramid. Formed over thousands of years, this rock reminds us of Earth's pyramids and raises questions about the planet's mysterious past. The mystery of Mars's pyramids remains one of its most puzzling secrets. Buried UFO.
Look at the trench this object crashed down. It looks pretty wide and deep.
This photo from Mars might be the strongest proof of alien visits. Not to Earth, but to Mars itself. Back in 2021, a strange photo taken by NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter started circulating. It didn't show a rock or a crater. It showed a smooth, curved object half buried in Martian dust, with a long trail behind it. Some say it's a crashed UFO. Others claim it's just another Mars rock. But when experts looked closer, the shape, the trail, and the clean disc-like edge didn't look natural at all. And maybe that's because it wasn't.
The object that he was looking at was between 12 and 15 meters in diameter.
Face on Mars.
Face on Mars was created from possibly an existing base.
The most compelling evidence of an ancient civilization on Mars comes from a famous photograph showing what looks like a large face-shaped structure known as the face on Mars. This formation appears remarkably symmetrical. According to researchers, the face measures about 1.5 to 2 miles long, with eyes nearly a quarter mile wide and a nose about half a mile across. It's no small feature. Some believe this face was carefully shaped from a natural mesa by an ancient Martian civilization.
I believe that the face on Mars was created from
UFO crash traces. This mark didn't look like it came from a normal crash. NASA's Mars orbiter captured an odd trench on the Martian surface. It was smooth, with clean curves, and shaped like a giant disc had scraped across the ground. The front looked wide and oval, not like any crater caused by a falling rock. Many viewers thought it looked more like a landing than an impact. Some believe it could be the trace of a crashed UFO. NASA hasn't explained it yet, so the question remains open. Maybe something much bigger hit Mars and left a trace. Discovery of blueberries.
The ground covered, literally covered with these little spherical grains.
Another shocking discovery on Mars: tiny spherical stones scattered like clues across the red soil. These odd formations, now called Mars blueberries, were found by NASA's Opportunity rover in 2004. Unlike the usual reddish Martian ground, these spheres were darker, round, and covered the surface near Eagle Crater. Some experts say they formed in the presence of water,
form in rock as water circulates,
pointing to a time when Mars might have been habitable. But others don't buy that explanation. Plasma impact experiments created similar spheres in labs, raising whispers of something else, maybe even weapons from a lost civilization. Whether from natural water flows or something artificial, these Martian blueberries may be our biggest clue that Mars once held secrets we're only beginning to uncover.
It means that at one point Mars was probably habitable.
Strange finds on Mars. On July 26, 2021, NASA's camera on Mars picked up something strange. Images of flying objects, unidentified and out of place in the red planet's sky. Just 2 days earlier, the Ingenuity helicopter had flown across a rocky patch called Raised Ridges, capturing sweeping views of the terrain. But the appearance of these objects wasn't explained in NASA's logs. Then comes another clue. Curiosity rover found a strange rock in Gale Crater. Nicknamed Egg Rock, it looked smooth and metallic, unlike other Martian rocks. After blasting it with lasers, scientists found it was rich in iron, nickel, and phosphorus, a composition more common in asteroids than on Mars. Metallic objects flying above, and asteroid-like metal embedded in the surface. Maybe these aren't just random finds. Perhaps Mars has seen more visitors than we thought. Traces of structures.
Those photographs found proof of a lost civilization there.
For decades, NASA has sent cameras to Mars that capture images, raising a question no one can ignore. Could these photos show signs of a lost civilization? Scattered across the barren surface, strange objects appear. Stone doors carved into cliffs, a sarcophagus-like shape half buried in red dust, and mysterious pyramids.
My attention is this four-sided pyramid that has a conjoined mound at the top.
George Haas, who leads the Cydonia Institute, points out how some structures closely resemble ancient monuments on Earth. While some remain doubtful, these shapes suggest something real. Echoes of a civilization wiped out, leaving only these silent ruins behind.
Top is not centered. The geometry is just not there.
Mars Mystery Light. A photo from Mars made NASA nervous, not because of what it shows, but because of what it might prove. Captured by the Curiosity rover, this image shows a strange, bright light in the distance. It's not a reflection, it's not a glitch, and it's not the first time this has happened. A similar light appeared back in 2014, but both times, NASA quickly called it a cosmic ray. Still, many aren't convinced. Perhaps these glowing lights are proof of underground activity, or visitors that NASA isn't ready to talk about yet. Hole on Mars. Holes found on Mars over the years have sparked wild curiosity and possibly hold the planet's biggest secrets. In 2011, NASA's orbiter captured a strange circular hole on Phobos Mons, which looked like an entrance to a deep underground cavern. Scientists believe it might be a collapsed lava tube, offering shelter from Mars's harsh surface and maybe a hiding place for ancient microbial life. Meanwhile, NASA's rovers have drilled dozens of holes into Martian rocks, looking for clues of water and past life. But the natural holes, especially those found near volcanic regions, raise deeper questions. Were they formed by ancient activity? Or do they point to something more mysterious beneath the surface? Mars might still be hiding its biggest story. Teddy bear's face. NASA satellites once picked up a strange image on the surface of Mars, and no, it wasn't a crater or a shadow. It looked exactly like a teddy bear's face. 2 round craters formed the eyes, and a circular pattern shaped a snout. It was oddly perfect. Researchers from the University of Arizona said it was just a mix of collapsed structures and volcanic marks, but some people aren't buying that. What are the odds of random destruction creating something this precise and familiar? It's almost like someone wanted to leave behind a softer message, as if Mars was trying to say, it's not as lonely as it looks. Giant face structure. On February 25, 2014, the Mars Curiosity rover sent back a high-resolution panoramic image that quickly caught attention. In a rocky area called Dingo Gap, viewers noticed something shocking: a large face-like structure carved into the surface. It didn't look random. It looked built. Amateur archaeologists soon pointed out more strange shapes nearby, something like a sarcophagus, a statue resembling Buddha, and even what looked like a cross. None of these seemed like normal rock formations. Were they the remains of a lost alien culture? It's hard to say for sure. But if these were statues, they weren't made yesterday. They belong to a world long gone, yet not entirely forgotten. Giant Mars Key.
Just something nature made or something that humans or extraterrestrial.
Among the strangest discoveries on Mars is a formation that oddly resembles a giant key. This unusual shape appeared in satellite footage and stirred excitement online. While the area around it seemed rocky and natural, this one spot stood out, long, narrow, and curved like an ancient iron key. It didn't look like random erosion or a broken cliff. Some even guessed it might have been a part of a lost mechanism, possibly left behind by alien visitors. Scientists haven't confirmed anything unusual yet, but if it was artificial, it raises a wild question. What exactly did this key once open?
You then see that it's an enormous keyhole shape.
Spacecraft wreckage. During its mission on Mars, the Ingenuity helicopter discovered something strange, what looked like wreckage from a spacecraft. Right after that, it lost contact with the Perseverance rover. At the same time, Perseverance spotted a shiny object hidden under a rock and continued its journey toward the towering delta. Along the way, it drilled into the toughest rock yet, recorded a Martian eclipse, and passed over smooth terrain faster than any rover before. Ingenuity later captured photos of the parachute and backshell from their landing site, but after its 27th flight, it went silent due to dust and cold temperatures. Thankfully, 2 days later, communication was restored. As the team aimed for Hawksbill Gap, Perseverance began climbing the steep delta face, starting its next big adventure. Sideface discovery. Back in 2017, a researcher in Waterford, Virginia, spotted something strange while studying satellite images of Mars. In a region called Utopia, inside a massive crater, was a shape that looked like a side face, this time in profile. It had a beard, mustache, and what looked like a bird-shaped helmet. The image was strangely similar to Earth's Badlands Guardian, which also shows a face with an avian headdress. Some believe these markings weren't random, but geoglyphs left by an advanced culture, possibly Martian. Could Earth have been seeded by this civilization long ago? Were these giant formations left as clues to our true origins? Many believe this lost race once lived among us before disappearing. Maybe forever. Forgotten space monolith.
We may well find that when we go to Mars, we'll find obelisks there.
A strange object was spotted on one of Mars's moons, Phobos. In 1998, NASA's Mars Global Surveyor took a photo showing what looked like a tall, dark monolith.
Phobos. There's a very, very interesting obelisk or monolith.
Some say it's just a rock. Others, including astronaut Buzz Aldrin, believe it's not natural at all. Researchers then pointed out something deeper. Similar monoliths exist on Earth too. From Egypt to Ethiopia, these ancient towers of granite, filled with quartz, might have acted like antennas, sending and receiving energy. Some believe they were part of a global system, placed on spots with flowing underground water or strong energy lines. If these monoliths were made by advanced beings long ago, maybe the one on Phobos wasn't left by accident.
All standing stones all around the world could easily have been part of some kind of energy.
Space cocoon. A strange object was spotted, one that looked just like a butterfly cocoon, but it wasn't on Earth. This unknown shape was seen during a deep space scan. Scientists first thought it was a shadow or space dust, but once the data was decoded, things got weird. The object appeared smooth and curved, almost like it was made to hide something inside. Its surface reacted to light and heat like a living shell. Some believe it's a protective pod, maybe a sleeping chamber sent out by a life form from another world. It didn't match any known material from our planet or even our solar system. Cylindrical shape object. In 2020, NASA's Curiosity rover captured something strange on Mars, an object that didn't belong. Taken on Sol 2692, the image showed a tin-like cylinder resting on the dusty surface. It looked smooth, shiny, and out of place in the barren Martian landscape. The photo spread across Reddit, where space fans debated its origin. Some thought it was a piece of Curiosity itself. Others argued it could be a meteorite, but the most bizarre theory, that it was left behind by an ancient alien race that once lived or still lives on Mars. NASA has never confirmed what it really was. Martian bird.
Zooming into the image, you can see its shape really closely resembles.
In March 2021, just days after NASA's Perseverance rover landed on Mars, a strange object showed up in one of its early panoramic images. Captured in the third frame, it looked thin, elongated, and oddly suspended in the Martian sky. Once the image hit social media, speculation started. Some swore it resembled a bird in flight. When zoomed in, the shape did match a bird mid-air, but NASA experts suggested it might have been a lightweight piece of insulation torn off the rover. Others argued it couldn't be. Why did it appear in only one frame? If something really was flying across Mars, then we may have already missed our first real look at life in motion on a planet we've barely touched.
The sky is not blue, it's yellow, which is exactly what you would see.
Fossils on Mars? NASA's Curiosity rover took this image on Sol 3786, and something strange stood out. A thin, spiky structure appears to be growing out of a rock, all lined up in a straight formation. Astrobiologist Natalie A. Cabral even shared the image online, calling it the most bizarre rock ever seen in her 20 years of studying Mars. The structure's shape, shadows, and perfect lines have confused everyone. Could these actually be fossils? What do you think? Hidden tunnels? A strange square opening was found on Mars, showing a flat and perfectly dust-free interior, something unusual on the dusty planet. NASA hasn't shared much information about it. Without any nearby objects to compare, it's hard to tell if the opening is small or huge. Nearby, An exposed wall adds to the mystery. Could this be a hidden tunnel or entrance beneath Mars's surface? The details remain unclear, but this discovery hints at something unlike any natural formation we've seen before. Frozen crater flyover. In 2020, the European Space Agency released a stunning simulated flight over Mars' Korolev crater. This massive 82-kilometer-wide crater sits in the northern lowlands of Mars. And it's not just empty, it's packed with a thick layer of water ice. The crater holds a 1.8-kilometer deep ice dome that stays frozen all year. Why? Because the crater works like a cold trap. Cold air settles over the ice and seals it off from Mars's thin atmosphere. The flyover was made using high-res images from the Mars Express orbiter. It gave viewers a 3D look at one of the biggest ice-filled spots on Mars. A frozen hidden lake. What else could be preserved beneath this icy shield? Metallic door. A strange discovery appeared in a Mars rover image. What looks like a broken metallic door standing alone in the Martian dust. The rusted frame and metal bars seem too structured to be a natural rock formation. Behind it, a pile of debris lies scattered, hinting at a possible collapsed tunnel or chamber. NASA hasn't explained the image, leaving people to wonder if it's a leftover from ancient activity on Mars, or just an oddly shaped rock formation. With no clear answers, this eerie metal doorway adds another mystery to the red planet's long list of strange sights. Mars dust storm mystery. During a massive dust storm in August 2018, NASA captured a strange object on the Martian surface. It looked like a thin piece of metal lying flat on the ground, too smooth and out of place for typical Martian rocks. Some even thought it was part of a larger machine, or a crashed vehicle. NASA called it the Pettigrove Point Foreign Object Debris, but after analysis with the rover's laser tool, it was declared just a flake of Martian rock. Still, the object appeared during a global dust storm when visibility was low and shadows played tricks. Martian stone door. Another strange discovery has sparked curiosity on the Martian surface, a doorway carved into stone. It wasn't wide or grand, but the clean-cut and shadowed interior made it hard to ignore. Captured by NASA's Curiosity rover in May 2022, while it explored Gale Crater, the image quickly went viral. Some believed it was a hidden passage built by someone, but experts explained it away as a small fracture in the rock, only a few inches tall. They say it was likely shaped by erosion and pressure over time. Still, the doorway-like feature didn't look random, even if natural. Its sharp form left many people second-guessing what truly shaped it. Holes on Martian surface. A strange pattern appeared on Mars, perfectly aligned holes dug into the dust. This unusual sight was captured by NASA's Curiosity rover, showing a row of neat, circular impressions in the sandy ground near scattered rocks. The formation looks too clean and organized to be natural. Some people guessed it could be tracks left by a Martian creature or signs of underground activity. However, the actual explanation is more grounded. These holes were likely made by the rover itself during a calibration or movement test. Even so, when patterns this precise show up on an alien world, it's hard not to wonder what else might be buried under Mars's surface. Pure sulfur rocks. In a dry Martian channel, Curiosity rolled over a rock and found something no one expected. It revealed pure sulfur crystals, shining yellow in the red dust. These weren't just traces. Some rocks were almost entirely made of sulfur. The site, called Gaius Vallis, had already shown signs of past water, but this find didn't fit the usual pattern. NASA scientists quickly drilled a nearby rock named Mammoth Lakes to test the mystery. Whatever formed these crystals, it clearly wasn't calm. Maybe these yellow crystals are the leftovers from a time when Mars wasn't so lifeless after all. Discovery of ancient riverbeds.
But Also the size. These are too large to be transported by.
Orbital images reveal dried-up river channels, indicating a wetter past. NASA's Curiosity rover uncovered strong evidence of ancient riverbeds in the Jezero crater on Mars, pointing to a time when the planet was much wetter. According to The Guardian, the dried river channels and rock formations show that floods once swept through this region with enough force to move large boulders. This suggests Mars had a warm and humid climate with a water cycle far more complex than previously thought. The discovery challenges old ideas of Mars as a cold desert and raises hopes that the planet could have supported microbial life in the past.
Because we're seeing that story continued across the different regions in Jezero Crater.
Clay minerals. Another key discovery made by NASA's Curiosity rover on Mars by detecting large amounts of clay minerals on the lower slopes of Mount Sharp. In 2012, the rover drilled rock samples named Aberlady and Kilmarie in this area. Clay usually forms when water interacts with rock for long periods, so this finding strongly suggests that Mars once had long-lasting, wet environments. Scientists believe these clays formed in the mud at the bottom of an ancient lake, confirming that water once shaped the planet's surface. This discovery is important because water is a vital ingredient for life, making this region one of the most promising places to look for signs of past Martian life. Dust devils. Mars rovers and orbiters have captured images of dust devils swirling across the planet's surface, helping scientists better understand Martian weather. One striking photo shows a thin dust devil twisting through the dusty Amazonas Planitia region in northern Mars. This image was taken by NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, using its high-resolution high-rise camera on March 14, 2012. These dust devils, like small twisters, lift dust into the air and reveal how winds move on Mars. Studying them gives clues about the planet's atmosphere and weather patterns, which are very different from Earth's, but still surprisingly active. Martian humanoids. In one of the most debated Mars images, NASA's Curiosity rover appears to have captured two human-like figures standing on the Martian surface. After adjusting the brightness and zooming in, the figures seem to have arms, legs, and even backpacks, possibly air tanks. One appears to be pointing toward a half-buried object nearby. That object looks nothing like a rock. Its shape resembles the nose of a damaged aircraft, complete with windows, metal supports, and a debris field. Some researchers even pointed out what may be the wings and engine of a crashed ship. If that's true, it's not just a trick of the eye. It could mean something crash-landed on Mars long ago. Maybe this wreck wasn't meant to be found. Recurring slope linii. Have been spotted on Mars by NASA's high-rise camera. These streaks show up during warm seasons and fade during colder ones, almost like something is flowing down the slopes. Some scientists believe this could be a sign of liquid water. But here's the twist. Mars is too cold and has very low air pressure, which makes pure water nearly impossible to stay in liquid form. Still, these streaks behave like they're made of a liquid. Could it be briny water or something else entirely? For now, the mystery remains, but these marks may be the closest clue Mars has ever given us about life, or something like it. Martian wind. In 2018, NASA's InSight lander did something no one expected. It captured the sound of wind blowing on Mars. Using its seismometer and air pressure sensor, the lander picked up vibrations caused by winds moving at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. The actual sound was too low for human ears, so NASA increased the pitch by 2 octaves. What came out was a ghostly breeze. Quiet, eerie, and straight from another world. This wasn't just a cool moment. It proved Mars isn't silent, and sometimes silence is broken in the most haunting ways. Courtesy. Subsurface ice deposits. Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter detected vast underground ice sheets, suggesting potential water resources for future missions. Mars may look dry and dusty, but NASA just revealed a secret hiding under its surface. Using the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter and its high-rise camera, scientists found giant underground ice sheets stretching across parts of the planet. These ice deposits aren't just frozen patches. They behave like slow-moving glaciers. Found in valleys and craters, they carry rocks and soil as they shift over time, leaving behind strange patterns that tell a story of ancient ice movement. NASA even released a new map showing where future astronauts might find water. This isn't just about science. It's about survival. What once looked like a finished world might just hold the key to our future in space. Ancient lake beds in Gale Crater. When NASA's Curiosity rover rolled into a spot called Yellowknife Bay inside Gale Crater, scientists noticed something odd: rocks with veins and fractures. It didn't take long to confirm they were looking at the remains of an ancient lake bed. The rover drilled into the rock and found grayish powder, rich in clay. That's a big deal. Clay forms in water and isn't too acidic, which means this place might have once been safe for microbes. Billions of years ago, Gale Crater could have held calm, fresh water where simple life may have existed. It's not just red dust and dead soil on Mars. The real story lies hidden in old lake beds, and it's slowly coming to light. Detection of boron.
Recently, we found, for the first time, boron on Mars in Gale Crater.
After discovering signs of an ancient lake bed in Gale Crater, Curiosity found something even more surprising: boron. This element, spotted in dried mineral veins, is known on Earth for helping form RNA, one of life's basic building blocks. Boron only appears when water moves through rock, and its presence means the ancient lake didn't just dry up. It left behind a warm, watery underground system. Even more important, this water wasn't too acidic or salty, making it a place where microbes could have lived. First a lake, now traces of life-ready chemistry. Mars isn't just a dry planet with old rocks.
Being this element that's very water-soluble, is in the groundwater.
It's time for today's open discussion. A European spacecraft snapped some strange images of spider-like shapes on Mars's surface. At first, it seemed like real spiders were crawling on the red planet. Pretty creepy. But these shapes aren't creatures at all. Scientists explained that sunlight warms frozen carbon dioxide under the surface, causing gas to build up and erupt like tiny geysers. This process leaves dark, spider-shaped patterns on the ground. Some of these patterns stretch over half a mile wide. So while they look spooky, these spiders are just natural Martian phenomena, showing us how unique and strange Mars really is.